Hello again, friends and fellow truth seekers. Mike Nicholas here with another episode of the Soul Unleashed podcast. Thank you for joining me. This podcast is where my goal is to help you with questions you might have regarding the awakening of your soul, and particularly to help other left brain types, like I think I am, ask the right questions in our search for a deeper meaning to life. And ultimately, I want to help you unleash your soul from limiting beliefs and what I refer to as smothering paradigms. This is a Christmas broadcast. I want to do this on Christmas Day and to share with you just some thoughts about the year. You know, generally I think about this towards the end of the year, but Christmas is obviously a very special day. It's been a little bit unusual for me the past couple of years because my wife is still in the hospital. For those of you that have followed my journey at all on this podcast, she fell and hit her head last summer, and last Christmas she was in a full-blown hospital and ventilator, tracheostomy, everything. This Christmas, she's in a skilled nursing facility. And so it's just been unusual. I grew up, as some of you know, in a large family, the oldest of 7 children, tons of relatives, tons of wonderful cousins who still party like maniacs Christmas Eve and whatever. But they're all up in, New Jersey, and I'm down near Washington, D.C., and it's just a little bit unusual that not to be involved with family that much. Those of you also that follow me and know me know that we lost one of our 2 sons, Matt, in 2020, and we still have, of course, our oldest son and his beautiful, wonderful family, and they're nearby, which is great. So that's what Christmas has been, and I grew up where it was part of the deal that, the matriarch or patriarch of the family, my grandmother, would hold this huge Christmas Eve celebration and then a huge Christmas dinner. And in between that, we're bouncing around from family to family. And when our boys were growing up, we were blessed to have my wife's family very close to my family up in New Jersey. We drive up the 4 hours up there and spend time with both of them, usually the same day. So two Christmas dinners, 2 Easter dinners, 2 Thanksgiving dinners, whatever. And they're both very large families, and that was awesome. So I'm very grateful for those memories. That's just not the way things are right now. But I am very grateful for the journey that I've been on and how my wife is still hanging in there. I'm grateful for this podcast journey. It has been a learning experience for sure. I'm not going to get into the whole thing about how I started or why I started this, but it was spiritual, and it was related to the loss of our son. And my whole background as a left brain type, military, engineering, whatever, is that I thought all this stuff was craziness, and I thought it was silly to believe in things that I couldn't tangibly grasp or feel. I knew that there was something, I grew up conservative Catholic, and I believed in God. I believed in the Holy Spirit. I just never really experienced it as personally as I did in the few months after our son's death in 2020, which completely changed my mind. And to where I now believe people that I thought were nut jobs are actually maybe tuned into spirit way more than I understood at the time. And I think I understand better now. And so my podcast, this podcast, plus the video version that I do, you'll hear me interviewing, people that I would have thought were crazy, right? Mediums, psychics, astrologers, people that do past life regressions, people that tap into your spiritual energy, your soul's energy. They'll tell you about your life. They'll tell you about things that are happening with you, the blocks that you have. People that do spiritual healing or physically heal your body, but they use spiritual techniques. All this stuff I would have thought was a little bit crazy. So if you listen to my podcast, and this isn't really a commercial or anything, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from. But if you listen to my podcasts, those are the kind of people that I interview, and my purpose is to help you, if you're listening to this, maybe consider things that you had not considered before. Maybe the paradigm that you're living in, the way that I grew up too, was none of this stuff made sense or was even considered as part of life, and I had questions about it, and I continue to have questions about it. It was really cool at the recent Christmas Eve dinner. I was kindly invited by another family member nearby, actually my daughter-in-law's family, to join them for dinner. It's kind of weird being the odd person out, but I joined them and to have a discussion over dinner about the Old Testament, because not everybody, but a lot of people are having questions about things like the Bible and how accurate, how relevant it is, and particularly the Old Testament, because there's some strange stuff in the Old Testament, and I've done podcasts about that, about all the death and destruction and the vengeful God, and that God versus the God that's described in the New Testament. So I do think that there's a general spiritual awakening going on. I'm just a tiny, tiny, tiny small part of that, and happy to share in that. I also have noticed that there's a ton of podcasters. The radio station that I listen to is mostly 24/7 Christmas music. I love that part of the time of the year, and I listen to the local station that plays Christmas music all the time. But when they do advertisements and commercials, a lot of those commercials are about podcasts, and holy moly, it seems like everybody, every star, every has-been star anyway, has a podcast about something, about their life or about the challenges they're facing. And so having a podcast seems to be pretty mainstream now. I was just laughing because I was listening the other day to a commercial about a podcast, and it's about the secret history of the casting couch in Hollywood. And the tagline is, "Join us as we navigate the secret tangled web of Hollywood sex, money, and murder." And I thought, holy cow, how do I compete with that? I have no secret tangled web about sex, money, and murder. But I do have thoughts about what our life means, and is there some spiritual component that we can't see? And what is there that's out there beyond death? What is there that allows us to talk to people, communicate with people that have passed? Because I fully believe now that that's possible. And how does reincarnation work? And what is our soul's mission when we come back to do that? Those are the kind of things that I like to get into. It's not as sexy or salacious as sex, money, and murder, but to me, it's the meaning of life, and I ponder and love to talk about those kind of things. So anyway, as we get closer to the end of 2023, just want to thank you for listening. I think this will be my 138th episode, maybe, of the podcast. I haven't done as many as I wanted the past year. I'm proud of that number, but I want to continue to talk about these things, and I will. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the coming year. So I wish you all a wonderful Merry Christmas and a happy, beautiful holiday season. And I'll talk to you more before the new year, where I can wish you a happy new year. But thank you again for listening. Bye-bye.